Welcome to Online Learning Theory from K-12 by Annie, Michelle, Sinead, and Jennifer. Let's start with our analysis questions. What is online learning? How is online learning incorporated into classrooms from K-12? What learning theories are discussed and used in this sector? What are the benefits of online learning versus traditional in-class learning? And what are the commonalities and differences between online learning and traditional class learning through primary, junior, intermediate, and secondary school sectors? Let's talk about our first question. What is online learning? Online learning is defined as education in which instruction and content are delivered primarily via the internet. Watson, Winograd, and Kalman, 2004. Another definition is online learning can also be defined as a flexible and dynamic nature, a characteristic that makes it possible to engage in learning at any time from any place. It can take a variety of forms, which involves a combination of synchronous and asynchronous components. Childs A, 2004. So now what we've discussed online learning is, let's talk about the different types of delivery methods. We have asynchronous, synchronous, and blended learning. Asynchronous is distance learning that is an instructional tool where students can learn the same content at different times. This can be a pre-recorded lecture, notes posted online, or web-based simulation. Synchronous delivery method would be an instructional distance learning tool that happens at the same time for everyone, but can be online. This could be web conferencing or IM chats or offline. So our students are not going to be going online at the same time or exactly together. Blending learning is a form of distance learning that combines different forms of instructional technology. So this could be videotape, CD-ROM, or web-based training and film. This has face-to-face instructor-led instruction and also online, depending on availability and resources in the context of location. Now let's talk about how online learning is incorporated into the K-12 sector. Come on, let's find out. Here's a chart on our different sectors and what types of technology are commonly found. For our primary sector, we have iPads, and they can be used for literacy and math help. We have interactive IVP, the whiteboards, and this is used for literacy and math activities and can also be used for calendars. In primary, we can find e-textbooks, so Fully Alive, math and science. And we also have MOOCs and read-alouds. In junior intermediate, we can find iPads, and these are utilized for research or assignments. We have Chromebooks in class, which is a new addition in the recent years. We have online assignments, so these are posted online for our students. And we also have the utilization of cell phone apps. In secondary, we have e-learning online course outside of classroom. So some online courses are offered to secondary students to complete their credits. We have Chromebooks in class as well. We have women's training for co-op and safety training in the later grades. And we also have library tutorials and online orientations. So now we've looked at different technologies that we can find in the K-12 sector, let's talk about who can actually benefit from this. Our students can benefit from online learning. So let's talk about how. Traditional or face-to-face instructional environments have been criticized for encouraging passive learning, ignoring individual differences and needs of the learners, and not paying attention to problem-solving, critical thinking, or other higher-order thinking. Apana 2008, page 6. Online learning can tackle some of these problems. Students with health concerns or other reasons that prevent them from attending school can connect through online courses and communications. Kleiman 2004. This is due to online learning being accessible from anywhere. It can provide students with opportunities to build strong technology skills that they can take with them into their careers in this technology-rich 21st century. Kleiman, 2004. Communicating with multimedia tools, procedures, the types of communication skills now common in many occupations. Effectively incorporating technology into the writing curriculum can also teach students new levels of editing, revising, and collaborating, as well as provide opportunities to share their products with real audiences over the internet. Kleiman, 2004, page 250. Most organizations and corporations are looking for students that are technologically savvy, so online learning helps to prepare them for the workforce. Let's talk about who else benefits from online learning. Our teachers and educators. Through the use of interactive visual programs that allow students to explore math, literacy, and science concepts, teachers and educators have new ways to teach these concepts and engage their students. Kleiman, 2004. Technology can play a major role in addressing the needs of different students. For students with physical and sensory disabilities, assistive technologies have been a game changer. They can provide life-changing aids. For example, text-to-speech devices make all books available to visually impaired students. Speech-to-text devices enable students who cannot physically use a pen and keyboard to express themselves in writing. Specialized software can provide scaffolds to help students with learning, language, or attention disabilities to succeed in learning tasks that would have been impossible for them without these supports. Kleiman, 2004, page 250. So we can definitely see how online learning can benefit both our students and our teachers. What is the rationale behind online learning in K-12? So online learning is seen as a way to expand opportunities to students. By offering more accelerated and remedial courses to secondary students, and by encouraging social and economic development in less developed areas. It also has been said that online learning would relieve educational problems such as crowded schools, the need for qualified teachers in local schools, and the challenges to accommodate students who would benefit from learning in an environment outside of the school. Kavanagh, Barbour, and Clark, 2009. Let's talk about some contextual information to add to our research. The growth of online learning in the K-12 sector is occurring both remotely through virtual schools and on campuses through blended learning. Stacker and Horn, 2012. K-12 online enrollments have increased dramatically, the majority coming from middle and high school students. Queen and Lewis, 2011. Informal learning. This is when a student uses technology to learn outside of a structured education program. For example, students could play educational video games or watch online lectures on their own outside of any recognized school program. Stacker and Horn, 2012. Full-time online learning. This is a structured education program in which content and instruction are delivered over the internet and the students do not attend a supervised brick-and-mortar location away from home, except on a very limited basis in some cases, such as for proctored exams, wet labs, or social events. Stacker and Horn, 2012. Hundreds of thousands of students are attending full-time online schools that provide their entire education. Many of these students, perhaps 20%, were formerly homeschooled, but by enrolling in a public online school, these students have become public school students. Butch and Pate, 2017. The physical brick-and-mortar classroom is starting to lose its monopoly as the place of learning. The internet and the World Wide Web have made significant changes to almost all aspects of our lives. Nguyen, 2015. Virtual or online learning is revolutionizing American education. It has the potential to dramatically expand the educational opportunities of American students, largely overcoming the geographic and demographic restrictions. Lips, 2018. Students appear to be benefiting from online learning programs. While evidence about the effectiveness of K-12 online learning programs is limited, there is reason to believe that students can learn effectively online. In 2009, the U.S. Department of Education published a meta-analysis of evidence-based studies of K-12 and post-secondary online learning programs. The study reported that students who took all or part of their class online performed better on average than those taking the same course through traditional face-to-face instruction. LIPS 2018. Let's talk about our thoughts on the rationale around online learning. We believe online learning gives students equal opportunity to learn from a safe environment at their own pace. This is a benefit of online learning. In the K-12 sector, online learning is beneficial because users can have access at their own convenience. Online learning also helps students develop skills necessary for the future. Examples include self-regulation, time management, organization, and computer skills, which most corporations and organizations are looking for in today's society. By reducing the cost of education, schools can offer a wider variety of courses and provide additional learning opportunities for students. Now that we've talked about our thoughts on the rationale around online learning, let's talk about learning theories in online education. Our first learning theory is connectivism. So connectivism is a theory of learning in a digital age that emphasizes the role of social and cultural context in how and where learning occurs. Learning does not simply happen within an individual, but within and across the networks. This is taken from Cook 2018. On this slide, I have listed the affordances, limitations, and examples of connectivism learning theory. Some affordances would be that it's cost-effective, more flexible, it offers a wider variety of subjects, student can work at their own pace, and it's more accessible. Limitations is that it doesn't take into account different learning styles, plagiarism, and saturated technology. Some examples of this would be LMS, which is short for Learning Management Systems, Blackboard, social media such as Facebook and Twitter, and Web 3.0, which is blogs and wikis. Let's talk about our next learning theory, social constructivism. So this theory states that a learner constructs their own understanding and knowledge of the world through experiencing things and reflecting on those experiences. Students are engaged with one another through an online medium or through a blending of online and traditional classes. This is taken from Cook 2018. The affordances, limitations, and examples I have listed here are collaborative learning, diversity, a student will experience a variety of media, and they'll be able to utilize online resources. Some limitations would be that it can be an overload of information, and false information without reliable sources can be shared. Some examples would be discussion boards, social media such as Twitter and Facebook, chat rooms, and Google Docs, where collaborative learning can take place. Now that we've discussed learning theories, let's talk about the commonalities and differences between online learning and traditional class learning. So some commonalities would be that both require a great amount of work, assignments are a big part of the learning process, they both require time management, participation is key from the student, discussion and collaboration is in both, and both forms have learning objectives. Some differences is that online learning includes both synchronous and asynchronous learning, while traditional learning only uses synchronous learning. Online learning feedback can be slower than traditional class learning, which can happen in real time. The teacher availability, and the teacher switches from the supplier of knowledge in a traditional class learning to a facilitator of knowledge in an online learning. That concludes our research on online learning in K-12, so let's look at our synthesis questions. What changes would you make to improve online learning in the K-12 sector? How would you incorporate online learning in a primary, junior, intermediate, and/or secondary sector? What type of delivery method do you think is most effective? Blended learning, asynchronous, or synchronous? What would happen if more funding was invested into online learning? Which learning theory do you think is the most beneficial for K-12 students? Here is a list of our references. That concludes our presentation on online learning in K-12. Thank you for listening.